Hello, and welcome to Psychology and Socialism Addendum. The discussion here will be focusing on man and angels. Before we begin with the discussion, kindly take a few minutes of your time to hit the subscribe and like buttons. God has a purpose for creating mankind. Essentially, God wanted to make a true replica of himself through mankind and mankind descendants. Genesis 1, verse 27. Further, God's plan is to give mankind dominion over everything he had created, including the angels. 1 Corinthians 6, verse 3. And Genesis 1, verse 28. God wished, however, to achieve his plan if mankind could follow his principles of creation and abide by his laws. Angels, therefore, were created by God as assistants to him in or during the creation of the universe, or the earth, and other useful dispensations. The angels are known according to the Bible to be servants of God and ministering spirits. Also, the angels are created to honor and praise God. Genesis 18, verse 10, Matthew 1, verse 20, Luke 1, verse 31, Acts 12, verse 7-11, Hebrew 1, verse 14, Revelation 5, verse 11-12, and Revelation 7, verse 11-12. The verses mentioned above present areas in the Bible where the angels were sent by God as servants and ministers. Now, let us look at the true purpose of creation. Consider this topic section as an extension of information that I have already discussed under the essence of creation. From the book of Genesis, we notice that man was God's second creation after creating heaven, where he created the angelic world. Essentially, during creation, everything God created was good. Even the kingdom of heaven he created, every existing species there live in accordance with goodness. Therefore, God wanted to extend his feel of joy in creating good things by extending his creature to earth. Purposely, God wanted to create the kingdom of heaven on earth, where he would establish a society or world filled with goodness, which would become a big family centered on the same parents as there is in the kingdom of heaven. Since God is overseeing the activities in the kingdom of heaven, he decided to appoint by creation of image that would oversees the activities of the kingdom of heaven on earth. In other words, what God would appoint has to be a creator like him on earth with similar power and domination like himself. So, he created man in his own image. Genesis 1, verse 27. Man, as it were, represented by Adam in the book of Genesis, was created to enjoy the capability of communicating directly to God. Although, God's main aim was to make man creator like himself. And he wished to make man be part of him, whereby man will know his mind while he thinks, and he will know man's mind when man thinks, just like a dual essentiality of one form. Essentially, God created man because he felt joy upon seeing his goal realized. And he wished to see what he had created returns his joy by his lifestyle, which must be in accordance with good deeds. Genesis 1, verse 31. God noticed that Adam cannot exist or live alone because he may feel too bored. So he decided to provide a helper who will be obedient and submissive to Adam. For that, God made an image, which have different characteristics and qualities, from Adam. God figured that to make a perfect companion for Adam, the image should be created from Adam. That is how God created Eve from the ribs of Adam. Genesis 2, verse 22. This showed that there is female characteristic dormant in every man and there is male essence in every woman. Crazy enough, in today's world, humanity has abused the privilege of the dormant similarity characteristics across man and woman by engaging in carving out their own sexual orientations. Indeed, I would say that such development is the beginning of serpent dominant and control of earth, which supposed to be dominated and controlled by mankind. Well, let us continue from where we stopped prior to the last statement above. Basically, God created Eve from Adam's ribs so that besides Eve being Adam's helper, they will equally be able to have a reciprocal relationship. This is the reason why on earth, every created species has reciprocal element. The peak of God's purpose for creating mankind is for man to experience his heart and zeal as his own. But mankind would only achieve that position of experiencing God's heart and zeal if he would be able to qualify by successfully passing God's cycle or process of purpose of his creation. Which indeed, must be in accordance with good. And the cycle or process is formation, growth, and perfection. Perfection, however, is when mankind will think like God and be like God. In other words, we would say that a man of perfected individuality, or perfection, is a man of perfect goodness. Unfortunately, Adam and Eve could not get to perfection because they failed at growth, or immaturity, stage. A man who attained perfection like Jesus Christ did, His relationship with God can be likened to the relationship our mind and body exercise. Our body, as the temple of our mind, obeys the command of our mind and acts upon the command. Since God abides in the mind of a man of perfection, such a man will become God's temple and live according to God's will or wishes. A man of perfection becomes one body in unity with God, just as our mind is in unity with our body. 1 Corinthians 3, verse 16. And John 14, verse 20. Therefore, a man of perfection will form a temple with God. A man of perfection can be able to have deity. A man of perfection must by no means commit sin. A man of perfection is what God wished to achieve with his creation of mankind. Genesis 1, verse 28. As we all know that Jesus Christ came to this world, we know as earth, to complete the purpose of creation, and to fulfill the purpose God had set forth to accomplish, when he started creating earth and all the living things residing in it. Just as we live and follow rules and regulations and abide by the laws set forth by the government, the same way Jesus Christ came to accomplish God's purpose of creation, by following and sticking to the rules and regulations, as well as following the laws set forth by God, that controls how the purpose of creation should be fulfilled. That is the reason why certain mishaps took place while Jesus Christ was on earth, and he cannot overturn the actions. Although Jesus Christ has and possesses the power and capabilities to overturn the bad things that took place while he was on earth. But, because the purpose of creation have set forth rules and regulations, he cannot overturn any bad or evil events when they happened. Well, this ends the discussion. I hope you enjoyed what you just heard. Do not forget to subscribe and like this discussion. Until next topic, I will say, goodbye.